I believe this may be the only time in history that God has been credited as an artist on a song. Dead on Time, Queen, Crown Jewels, next. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Projects Crown Jewels. I'm your host, PLD. Welcome back to our little journey. We go through the entirety of the Queen catalog, including solo ventures. We go through every song one by one and try to figure out which version of the song is the best version or crown jewel version of the song. Is it the album version? Is it a single edit? Is it a live version? You never know, except sometimes you do. Because in this case, this week, we only have the one version. So there you go. It's a spoiler right away. Dead on time. The album version is the crown jewel. Podcast over next week. No, not going to do that. Not going to do that because we have some other stuff to do. I'll give you some notes, some quotes. We will listen to it. We'll talk about it a little bit. And then we can see if it slides into my top 10 Queen-related tracks of all time. Always something to give you, even when we don't have an actual crown jewel war going on at this point. And how do we listen to it? Well, if you look in the show notes, you'll see a link to a YouTube version of Dead on Time. And when I get to it, I'll tell you to pause me, listen to that, come back, and then we can talk about it. Before we do that, let's get some initial information. Dead on Time, written by Brian May. Features Freddie Mercury on lead and backing vocals, Brian May on guitars and backing vocals, John Deacon on the bass guitar, Roger Taylor on drums and backing vocals, and as I mentioned in the cold open, it is God on the Thunderbolt. This was a B-side to Mustafa when it was released in Germany and in Spain. So it does have some life outside of the jazz project, but not a whole lot because there are no live versions. The band never attempted this live, which I can kind of see on one hand, and I'm kind of surprised at in another. I can kind of see it because as you're going to listen to it, it's a very speedy track. I could see it being very easy for the band to kind of lose the station there, get off the track, as you were. Much like Stone Cold Crazy had some moments where it's a little difficult to do. This is kind of like that to a degree, kind of like as far as that speed rock goes, a lot of guitar work, a lot of drum work. It's going to be easy to lose track of things. I can see why they didn't put it out there, especially since it wasn't like the most popular song. No one was really asking for it, unfortunately, as Brian would say. But it was never tried live by Queen, never done live with Paul Rodgers, never done live with Adam Lambert, and Brian never even tried it live. So it is what it is. But it is, like I said, it is a very speed rocker. If you like speed rockers, this is for you. One of the heavier songs Queen has done in their catalog. A band that is a hard rock band at heart. But unlike a lot of their compatriots, they did a lot more than just hard rock. They weren't hard rock heavy metal. They did rock. They did, piano ballads. They did Broadway show tune type. They did vaudeville. They did, they just went to disco, acoustic. They did the whole gamut, as you know, if you've been listening to the podcast. But when they did rock, they really did rock. They definitely could rock with the best of them, even if they chose not to do it all the time. A couple of quotes before we listen to the track and talk about it there. From Brian May in the Boston Globe, he compared it. He said, sort of a heavy version of Keep Yourself Alive Revisited, which I can kind of see. Now, I wouldn't have picked that out myself, but when Brian says it, I kind of see what he means by that. Brian also said on the BBC One, when the interviewer asked him if it was difficult for him to speed up for the solo, a quote in 1983, he looked back and said, that was something I was quite pleased with, but really nobody else was. It's something which nobody ever mentions very much. Fat Bottom Girls, I thought was okay, but fairly banal. I thought people would be much more interested in Dead on Time, but it didn't really get that much airplay. The explosions at the end are a real thunderstorm which occurred when we were in the south of France. We just put a tape recorder outside. Thus the credit. It's actually really at the end of the song. It ends the big thunderous explosion, and it's a real thunderstorm out reported. And that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. It's a nice little note for the track, little Easter egg, so to speak. Finally, last quote. Brian May in Starlix 1985 said, "This stuff is really sort of fooling around with the timing and then seeing what comes out. I think when doing this, it was just a question of getting into the groove and just seeing what came out." So those are the quotes I have. That's the background I have. Let's listen to the song and come back. We'll give a quick rundown on it. We got a short episode this week, so stick with me. Pause me now, though. Go listen to that YouTube link I got down below and come back for more. right, there you have it. Really filthy the riff to start off. There's a power chord, and then Brian starts doing that filthy, speedy ding 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 ding. And it's really it gets you right in the hits you right in the face. You know exactly what you're getting here. The full band comes in when John starts matching Brian's speed in the bass. I love that. Totally different band, Extreme. One of my favorite songs by them, Cupid's Dead. My favorite part is this middle section where Nuno Bettencourt, the guitarist, and Pat Badger, the bassist, just speed through together and they stay in tune. It's this really funky rhythm. It's kind of reminded me of that to a degree. I love seeing them match each other on their own, and then Freddie Brian kind of goes off towards the end when Freddie's vocal comes in. Chords this time, less about harmonizing. There's definitely some harmony there, but you almost don't care about the harmony. This is not a harmony song. The harmony, like the band cared about them, they did the same usual precise harmonies, except for they're much more like in your face, much more about being loud and proud and out there. It's almost like the harmonies themselves don't matter, it's just about getting in there. So dead on time, dead on time. No, you never get a minute, you never get a minute. It's all kind of really got the machine gunning of the lyrics. Never got a minute, never got a minute. It gets faster and faster and faster. But it really kind of he keeps up with it and makes it kind of hard to keep up with him, but you really want to kind of get in this train ride with him. Roger's great in this track too, by the way, adding some great fills just before like the stamping on the ceiling part. Yeah, some great fills towards the end between the leave on time, leave on time, leave on time. Great fills throughout. And the song really never slows down. It starts off with that power chord, like I said. It's like bam, bam. But once it gets going, it doesn't slow down. It has a section at the end where it kind of gets quieter for a bit, but it's kind of like one of those everyone kind of reminds you of the like in what's that old like dance they used to do and thing that kind of you start doing a little bit quiet now, a little bit quiet, that kind of that thing. Kind of reminds me of that because Freddie also just brings it down, like, but it's not any slower at that point. And it builds right back up before the end there. Great Freddie for the free guitar solo, and the guitar solo, Brian just goes off on it. I can tell why the interviewer asked about the speed of guitar solo. Just kind of a speed demon through. Brian doesn't do that quite so often, so I'm excited what he does. It gets even heavier somehow on the post guitar bit at some point. And then Freddie builds it up. I love. Also, they name check. I mean, Brian, man, I really should have thought about Keep Yourself Alive because they name check the song in there. You know, at the end, Freddie's like, gotta keep yourself alive. Then he ends with a big thunderbolt. Oh, yeah. This is a hard rock song. A hard rock song, if you ever was one. Queen, I love the fact that they can do this. I love the fact that they do this. I also love the fact that they don't do it all the time. This is what I love about the band. I love seeing the different genres, different approaches. I love the soft songs. I love the quiet songs. Love the acoustic tracks. Love the funkier tracks. Love the dancier tracks. Love the R&B type tracks. Love the pop songs. But when they do rock, they can rock with the best of them. So absolutely top bill. Love it. All right, there you have it. Next up, we would usually rank the Crown Jewel versions. This is it. It's just the album version. That's our Crown Jewel. So let's see. We can rate the song, though. That we can do. We always rate things on a scale of 1 to 11 here on PLD Projects. What do I want to give Dead on Time? I mean, I do enjoy it. It's definitely high up there because it is that rare, full-out bloody rocker from them. I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 11. I almost want to give it more, except it's one of those songs I don't necessarily think to go to. So I guess it kind of doesn't catch my mind. When it does play, I love listening to it. When I think about them specifically, what's the hard rocking song? I'll put that on there. I'll make a mix at the end, just the hardest rocking songs you give to your Metallica friends, so to speak. But it's still, so at the end of the day, when it comes out of the best out of 11, though, it's out of a scale of 1 to 11, we'll give it a solid 9. It's still a very solid score. Unfortunately, that does not slide into my top 10. It's been a while since I read my top 10, since we are, shall we say, we kind of have a short episode this week? Sure, why not? Top 10 as of this moment. Number 10, You Take My Breath Away at 10.5. 9, Teo Toriate, Let Us Cling Together from Day at the Races, 10.5. 8, The Millionaire Waltz from A Day at the Races, 10.5. 7, In the Lap of the Gods Revisited, Sheer Heart Attack album, 10.5. The Prophet Song, number 6, from A Night at the Opera, 10.5. Number 5, Bohemian Rhapsody at Night at the Opera album, 10.5. And the 4 perfect 11s I have given. From Queen 2, The March of the Black Queen. Number 3, from Queen 2, White Queen, As It Began. 2, from News of the World, It's Late. Finally, number 1, Day at the Races. And I can tell you specifically right off the top of my head from the Crown Jewel version was the live in Montreal from 1981. I Got Somebody to Love. So unfortunately, like I said, for this song, Dead Time 9 isn't going to cut it. Although it is still a very good score indeed. All right, that's going to do it, folks, for this week. Next week, we got another short one. It's only another one with only the album version. What's going on here? 2 in a row? In only 7 days, you're going to hear In Only 7 Days. Yes, that's the name of the song. The John Deacon ballad, a beautiful piano ballad. It's amazing how Queen does that. They go from the hard rock to the piano ballad just like that. I love that. This is your first time here, though. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you're on the audio feed, give us a rating, give it a 5-star rating, leave some comments. We'd love to talk to you about that. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Denuzio. If you want to help even further, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Projects. A great crew on there, Austin Goodell and Brandon Buckingham, a bunch of cool people like that. Come join us and we can talk about Queen some more. And if you can't, I get it. I totally understand it. But do your favor, just share it. Let's get this community up there going. Got the 2 versions. I do have, like I said, the Crown Jewels YouTube page, and I have the regular PLD Projects, which is more TV and movie related. A lot of cool stuff going on there. 2 Meter Weight Dudes on Film with PJ Campbell. We go through some franchise movies. I got a Star Wars podcast over there. Holy Snokes. I got a review, which is me going through the V franchise from the 80s. Love that. Also the 2009 review. We're going to do that as well. Doctor Who, got the big blue box, me and PJ. Campbell doing that as well. A lot of cool things going on there. So check it out. But if not, I get it. You like Queen, not your bag. Stay here. We'll talk more Queen next week. Like I said, in only 7 days, you'll be there. I'll be here. We'll all be here. There you go. Stay tuned. Bye now.